We've heard of people disappearing. But what about entire towns? Is it possible that these towns vanished off the map right in front of people's own eyes? Join me today on a journey into the unexplained. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more paranormal stories. Montana has quite a few ghost towns, each with its own unique spot carved out in our history. But did you know the Treasure State has a bizarre urban legend town? A place that allegedly vanished overnight. If you've never heard of Langeville, allow me to introduce you to the folklore. If you saw the remake of Ghostbusters in 2016, you may remember the reference to Langeville. The line is simply, "The entire town of Langeville, Montana gone missing." But for those who are in the know, it's quite a shout out. The story of Langeville has become quite an internet legend. Some say that online search for evidence of Langeville began after the Ghostbusters movie was released. Others swear that the rumors have been around much longer. Of course, no Google search will produce any photos of Langeville, and you won't find any evidence of its history in books. But legend has it that Langeville was a real town, a small rural spot that mysteriously vanished in the early 2000s. In the process, all online discussions of it and all evidence of its existence also disappeared. Obviously, it's clear that Langeville never really existed, or did it? Thanks to the Mandela effect, you'll find Montanans who swear it used to exist. The Mandela effect occurs when a large group of people believe an event occurred when it did not. After Ghostbusters was released, several Montanans noted the review of the town, referencing it as a real place, although that may not have been ironically. Have you ever heard the story of Langeville? If nothing else, it's a great topic to bring up at parties. You may even find someone who claims to remember it. Langeville might be fictional, but each of these Montana ghost towns are very real. Most accounts of the horror that occurred on August 17, 1952, in the Kansas township of Ashley, a cozy farming community whose total population was less than 700. I say was because of that fateful summer day. Every single man, woman, and child in Ashley vanished in what could be the best described as a miniature apocalypse. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the town may have been sitting directly atop the epicenter of a massive earthquake measuring 7.9 on the Richter scale. For perspective, the infamous San Francisco quake of 1906, which destroyed more than 3/4 of that city, measured at a magnitude of 7.8. Given the mere relocation of the town, it took some time for reports of the catastrophe to reach the state and federal emergency crews. But when those teams arrived, it seemed that no response would have been quick enough because the entire town of Ashley was already gone. I don't mean the residents were dead, I mean they were gone, along with every building, city, street, vehicle, and animal. It's as if hell itself had opened up that morning and swallowed them all. Those who arrived on the scene described seeing nothing left out of Ashley but a smoldering, burning fissure in the earth measuring 1,000 yards in length and approximately 500 yards in width, but of intermediate depth. Rescue operations, if you could call them that, proved fruitless. Nevertheless, teams spent nearly 2 weeks attempting to locate any signs of life within the charred chasm that was once a town. The search was finally abandoned on August 29th. Not a single body, living, dead, or otherwise, was retrieved from the smoking hell pit. But that's just the beginning of the story. Just one day after the abortive rescue operation at 2:27 a.m., a seismic aftershock of nearly the exact same magnitude struck the same precise location. Disaster teams returned to the scene, responding more quickly this time. But when they arrived, they witnessed something incredible. The giant fissure which had first consumed the town had mysteriously closed itself. As there were no surviving residents from Ashley to bear witness to the horror, Nearly all documentation related to the events comes from law enforcement officials and reporters from nearby towns of Hays, Kansas. The eeriest aspect of the story stems from the fact that most records of the disaster from the sources in Hays have been withheld from the national media. Needless to say, these undisclosed records have sparked a fair share of conspiracy theories. Rumors coming out of Hays and the surrounding area included descriptions of weird phenomenon in the weeks prior to the catastrophe, including atmospheric anomalies that resembled strangely moving lightning discharges, black openings in the skies, and roads into Ashley that seemed to lead nowhere, or even doubled back to their original destination. This allegedly came from a Hays police officer, Alan Mace, who tried to reach the Ashley city limits only to find himself heading back towards Hays. But the creepiest story being whispered around Hays concerns some residents claiming to have recently seen or heard, even held conversations with friendly and family from Ashley, none of whom